Hello, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, obviously, a bit different format here, joined by three of my fine guests here. I'll let them all introduce themselves momentarily, but this will be the MLB for Dummies slash preview guide for the MLB season because I don't know nearly enough and I'm not qualified and comfortable enough talking about it. So I brought in some experts, in my opinion. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, go ahead.
I'll start. I'm Mike Obama, an avid Mets fan. Um, Mets 2023. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll go next. Weldon Hauser. Nice to see everybody. And Anthony Volpe's the shortstop for the New York Yankees, and that I couldn't be more excited.
Well, my name is Tyler Maddock. I will represent the Philly portion of this grouping here. National League champs. Let everybody remind themselves that reigning National League champs.
And most of you guys here watching would know that I'm Blake Stackpool, unfortunate Detroit Tigers fan. So there it is. And but yeah, I just thought we'd do a quick video, talk about what's going on here, a little bit more of a free-flowing thing here, and just kind of talk about what's going on with the MLB, who's going to win what, who's guys you want to look out for. I know a lot of people, it's funny when I had some of my friends talk to me about, they're like, hey, Blake, what's going on with the World Baseball Classic? The Angels got the two best guys. How do they not win? Things like that. But just if any of you guys got any strong opinions you want to get off your chests, I think it'd be a good way just to start with that. If there's any bold predictions out there.
Well, I mean, now that you mentioned the Angels, I guess we should start there. Um, I have a lot of hope for the Angels this year. In previous years, everyone thought that the main issue is Mike Trout. He just has to stay healthy. If we have a healthy Mike Trout, Ohtani is obviously, I think, going to be the one of the, I think, AL MVP this year, or AL Cy Young. But if Trout's healthy, I think the Angels can be a force to be reckoned with in the AL, especially now with Altuve down for a bit. The West is a little bit up for grabs with Jacob deGrom on the Rangers now. Rangers bolster their pitching this offseason. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I could agree with that. I think that the Angels, they definitely have a year to prove it. I agree with your, opinion that Ohtani will win the AL MVP. I also do believe he'll be top 5 in Cy Young votes for the AL. I do think that their team is dependent on health, like you said, like Trout, Rendon, if they could stay healthy, and if Jared Walsh can have another year like he had last year where he was really raking, then the Angels can look good. But there's always going to be throughout this whole year, there's going to be that overlying narrative of where Ohtani's ending up. If he's going to resign, he's going to be traded. That's going to be something I think is going to cast a big shadow over the Angels season. And I think if they can avoid that as a distraction, then they'll be, and stay healthy. They'll be able to produce.
The AL West is no joke though, with the Mariners, Astros, and then the Rangers. I feel like is everyone's pick to be like the dark horse. They've been spending so much money since they got that new stadium. They have like Seager, right? No, he's on the Tigers, right?
Yeah.
Or Rangers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
DeGrom, obviously. So the Rangers could be bad. Could be
Simeon, I think his
solid.
name is too. The other guy from the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Simeon.
Yeah. And
that's a tough division for the Angels. Like
they got Evaldi too. They got Andrew Haney. Like they're pitching.
The Rangers at plus 850 to win the AL West. Because Astros, think about it too. They lost Altuve for the first 2 months, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They lost a couple of their pitching, I feel like, too, in the free agency.
MLB released something today with saying that the Astros had the best lineup in baseball. And I struggle to agree with that, especially because like we flip over the other conference, the Padres on the West, they went and spent so much money this offseason.
Padres, I think the Padres have the best lineup, top to bottom, especially with Tatis coming back.
I'd say, yeah, their best addition is him coming off the suspension list.
Right. I just like the Padres' problem is always going to be their pitching. I think their pitching like way overachieved last year. And and then they even the Phillies lineup kind of exposed them in the playoffs. So
The Mets lineup didn't go that far, but
no, but I don't think Musgrave is a Grove or Grave. I don't think he's as good as he was last year.
He's the
some
shiny ear
people
guy,
have him
right?
as the
Yeah, he was sick in the playoff. But
some people have him as a dark horse for NL Cy Young right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if he takes another step up from where he was last year, yes, but I don't know. He's 31 years old. Maybe.
I think this Bogart signing is gonna blow in their face. I think that's gonna really flop.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I disagree. I like Xander Bogaerts. I mean, he's been in the AL East for his entire career and had to play him 15 plus times every year. And every single time we play him, he's batting like 380 against the Yankees, and he just absolutely kills us. He's a big time performer. And I don't know. I do kind of like Machado as a dark horse for NL MVP. I do think, he was hitting well in the World Baseball Classic. I don't see Soto winning it. I could see Machado winning it over Soto actually. But or even Tatis for Soto. But
Is Tatis, does he still have some games on suspension to start? April 20th, he returns. So 12 games.
So
it's
12 games. Yeah.
Nice little juice. So what's up with Machado, right? Okay, so obviously he was on the Orioles for a bit, kind of bounced around. So I guess he's back in San Diego. Didn't he just sign a crazy long extension? And I thought he was kind of old. Isn't that a little wild? Or
Well, these baseball contracts, you have to take it with a grain of salt that basically everyone's going to get 8+ years now. And the owners are just going to figure it out at those last couple of years. So I don't look at that too much. But Machado, I think he finished top 5 in the MVP voting, I want to say, last year. Put together a really solid season. For as much attention as he get,
as a Tigers guy, we're paying Miggy still $50 million a year. And that's, the only guy in our roster making any money. And it's a tough watch, man. I wish he was able to get the juiced balls that Pujols was getting last year. That would really help the Tigers out. My God. To free the man. I mean, he still gets on base. It's crazy. He's got an insane ability of just hitting these little dinks right over the what's it called? Right over the infield, in between the infield and the outfield. And I just think that if he was a pinch hitter for one of these real good teams, he would love it. And he was openly talking about how he hates the fact that he's going to have a retirement tour this year. He's like, please don't. He was legit, guys, don't, please, because it's disgusting. But that's the only thing that's going to bring the Tigers any money this year is that the owners are like, no. You're going out there and you're going to swing the bat once and you're going to get your stupid little prize from every one of these franchises.
Well, does he have any milestones, a 500th home run or something?
Not anymore. He hit them both last year. He had 3,000 hits and 500 home runs last season. So it's
so fun.
Everyone thought he was going to retire last year and just kind of just fade away in the sunset. But
I think Pujols might have stole all the spotlight.
Yeah, I remember in our group chat, just behind the scenes for everyone here, in our group chat, I was freaking out about that last year because I don't know anything about baseball really, but I was like, Mickey's better than this Pujols dude, and he's getting no love at the All-Star game, nothing going on. This man won the Triple Crown, right? That's a hard thing to do.
He was probably one of the greatest hitters of the generation.
Yep. Yeah. And it's just crazy when you look back because that's pretty much all it is for a Tigers fan, right? Is every once in a while you go out there, you want to go out with your boys, get some beers, go spend $5 on a third row seat, just kind of chill out. Totally different experience to these three here, I'm sure, with tickets and stuff. And all you do is you just see all these different guys in the World Series, and it's like, oh, there's Verlander, nice, he's pitching, he's too bad. We don't need to re-sign him. Scherzer, he's not worth it. And they're 8 or 9 years removed and they're all still performing very, very well for other teams. It's tough, but rest in peace, Mr. I.
I want to hear about the Yankees' expectations for the season because that's always my favorite team to follow because it's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys where win or lose, they're going to be must watch. And I do think baseball's better when the Yankees and the Dodgers are good. I'll admit it.
Agreed.
I'll be the first to admit it.
So Yankees expectations for me, I'd have them around a 92 to 97 win season, between that range. I think,
Mm.
their injuries seem to be on better pace than anticipated. Bader's, hopefully he'll be back within a week or two of the regular season starting. Rodon is throwing, just if these injuries continue to progress the way that they're supposed to, and the Yankees perform the way that they're supposed to, with Cole, Rodon, if Nestor stays healthy, like health is honestly the biggest question with the Yankees. They have not enough pieces in outfield and way too many infielders, but I think the Yankees' best lineup that they can put out there is a really good lineup. It's a top 3 lineup in baseball. I'm willing to put that out there, and I'm willing to say, they have they're going to have 2, if not 3, starting pitchers who are going to receive Cy Young votes this year in Rodon and Cole. Cole's a lock to get Cy Young votes every single year. In Rodon, I think he comes over and he gives the Yankees that left hand that they haven't had. They haven't had a 1-2 punch like that since like Messina and Pettit. Like, it's been so long since the Yankees have had a really long, dominant 1-2 punch at pitching, and I'm looking forward to seeing that a lot. I'm also really looking forward to Volpe. I've been high on this kid for a little bit. I know I've been bugging Bama about it a lot, but you know what? He's absolutely raked during spring ball. He has a OPS of over 1 dot. He is hitting over 300. Coming off a season last year where between Double A and Triple A, he had over 20 home runs and 50 stolen bases. I'm really excited to see what he can do in the big leagues. He's made great adjustments. He's gotten recognition from great pitchers, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what that happens. But I definitely have the Yankees at 92 to 97. Think they're going to win the division pretty easily. But we'll see. Depends how good Toronto is too.
Is
How
it
far do you
then
think
World
Yankees
Series
would
or
go?
bust? Yeah.
Here's the thing. They have to get over the Astros hump. The Astros have been the absolute kryptonite for the Yankees for the past couple of years. And, first it was the cheating, but now it's just, they're just a really good team.
Yeah.
Like they're just a really good team. And so
No, I feel that, because I always say it's like sometimes beating your de facto rival is almost better. Like with Michigan football recently, it's like, all right, let's beat Ohio State. And then, oh, wait, there's a few games left and they totally don't have no more juice. So, it'd be, hopefully for your sake, I guess that would be that you'd face them in, the championship series instead of the divisional round, because it'd be a very easy fade in my book, the Yankees, if they finally beat the Astros, to fade them. They have no juice the next game.
Yeah, I do. Even though the Astros have lost Verlander on the offseason, I'm still very scared of their pitching rotation. They're still a very deep lineup. They make great signings, like bringing in Abreu. It's just, they're a well-run
That was
team with a good
ridiculous.
coach.
They just spawn
Ridiculous.
good players. It's crazy.
Yeah,
That Jeremy Pena guy is really good.
Yeah.
Gary
He's
Pena is
really good.
unbelievable. Like,
He just
they
showed
lose
up and
their
was even better than Craig.
shortstop, and
He's
they have
really
just
good.
the best shortstop ever to replace him. Alvarez, I think, is like criminally underrated. I think he could be a dark horse for AL MVP.
He's
Kyle
cool to
Tucker's
watch,
like
man.
solid as hell and just annoying as hell to like lose against with the no batting gloves, and just like he looks like a dweeb, but just produces.
I have Christian Javier winning the AL Cy Young, and I'm pretty confident in that.
Oh,
I think Christian Javier is going to
gross.
have. I think he's going to have an absolute great season. He's going to, as soon as he gets putting in more innings and consistently, as soon as he hits over 200, he's going to absolutely, I think, tear up the league this year. I just see him winning the AL Cy Young pretty well.
Well, I'm looking at this Yankees over 93.5 wins, and I think that's going to be on my plate.
I would advise that that's a good bet.
Yeah, I do agree with the Yankees over 93 games, especially since there's less divisional games this year and more so every team gets to play every single other team in baseball, which I think is interesting as well. So the Yankees don't spend all their games against the Red Sox, which is also quite annoying, I think, for like games on TV in terms of viewership. And Sunday night baseball games, it's just usually Yankees Red Sox, which I kind of hate sometimes. But I'm interested to see Masataka Yoshida on the Red Sox.
Yeah,
he is
I'm very interested as well.
I'm not looking forward to seeing.
So he's one of the most recent guys to come over, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
I have him as one of my favorites to win AL Rookie of the Year. He is also 30 years old, but um, he's good. We saw him in the World Baseball Classic, um, and he proved he can hit against major league pitchers. So I think people should be on the lookout for him.
Signed a
I
big deal.
yeah, he got a what $100 million deal, 5 years.
I
Mhm.
think so.
Yeah,
Now,
he
speaking a little bit about Baseball Classic, I think anyone that watched it knows there was a clear Captain America, and that would be on our good friend Tyler's team here. So, how are we feeling about your new addition, Trey Turner?
Trey Turner was excellent, and once again, the Phillies carried in the World Baseball Classic. I just want to say that Trey
People are
Turner.
calling him America's team. That's what I'm hearing.
I would agree with that. I'll take that. No, that was fun to watch. Very excited to see Trey Turner in the Phillies uniform. It's going to be interesting to see. Finally, they have expectations, and they haven't had that in a while, so they cannot really play that underdog role when you have like two guys with $300 million contracts. So it'd be interesting to see how they do with the expectations early. Harper's obviously out for the first half, but as anything proved last year, is the regular season. Not doesn't necessarily not matter, but you can't put too much stock into it. It's about getting hot, staying healthy with pitching, and then like getting hot at the right time. And I think just the NL East is loaded. It's absolutely loaded. So any one of those three teams in the NL East, I think, have like all the tools. It's just about staying healthy with the pitching and then making sure you get hot right around the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the odds for the NL East division. We got the Braves are basically even money. The Mets about 170. Phillies at like 300, 350, and then the Marlins and Nationals off the page. So who do you think you guys like there? Obviously they're favored, the Braves, but like what do you guys think happens here?
I like the Mets. I think that the Mets have a really solid team. I think if everyone's hitting and everyone's healthy, there's not an easy out 1 through 9. The Mets have such a deep lineup, and you know they've obviously shown their ownership has obviously shown a commitment to winning now. And but I will say I have very, very high expectations for the Braves. I think that the Braves, they've consistently shown that they're a team that's going to always be, nodding on the edge of a World Series appearance. And they have such a young core that's been signed and retained, with the exception of like Max Fried. And so, I really like them. I also really do like Spencer Strider this year. Quadzilla, absolute huge quads. But
He's gross.
he's great. He averages, I think, over almost 14 Ks per 9. And if he pitches over, 200 innings this year, he'll be great.
Yeah, I'm really in on the Mets this year. I think like they're a 100-win team. For me, the Mets are just like a professional baseball team. Like if they get off the bus, you're just like, okay, that's like the New York Mets. Like they just look the part. Like they have the shortstop, they have the first baseman, they have just like professional pitchers, guys who've done it over and over again. And we like talked about staying healthy as one of the important things. I'll be interested to see how the Mets like manage those innings for those older guys, but they've been like Verlander and Scherzer haven't been hurt. I don't think so really that much in the last couple of years. So it
Well,
should be except for the 1 year.
Verlander came
Yeah.
off the TJ, yeah. I
Yeah.
really like
Besides that.
I like the old man vibes that I'm getting from the Mets. Like, I just feel like
Yeah.
DeGrom, Buck, Verlander, they're just going to be all old and grumpy and just feel like they're just going to rake. I don't know.
They're just gonna just clock in every single day and then do what they need to do. Who knows what's gonna happen in the playoffs? The Mets could obviously just pull another Mets, but that's just like for me, the New York Mets are a 101-win baseball team.
I would agree. I think the Mets will be between 97 and 102 wins.
Thank you for those kind words, gentlemen, about the Mets. For me, I think it's interesting to see what they do with the bullpen. Edwin Diaz went down in the World Baseball Classic. Really sad, but he's being fast tracked back to health. He, as Weldon said, our owner is committed to winning now, so he got him a personal nutritionist, a personal trainer. He's ready to cure this guy back to health. It's interesting to see they added David Robertson in the bullpen and a couple other arms, but nothing really too big. And I thought they would spend a little bit more for the bullpen. So I'm interested to see if they pull any in-season trades for a big reliever arm.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could always find like especially closers right around the trade deadline. Say like the Brewers are out of contention. They have a pretty solid
Mhm.
bullpen that they could want to ship off.
Yeah, Devin Williams would be great
Oh
in
my
a
God, he was
Mets
dead.
uniform. I was also quite interested to see the Braves this season. In the off season, they didn't really spend much. Only getting Sean Murphy, which I thought was a great addition, but they
Great pickup.
lost Dansby, which is interesting to see as well, considering the rest of their team, and it's just a very solid core. But for not spending, I would have thought that they would have spent a little bit more to contend. Seeing that the Phillies got Turner, seeing that the Mets got Verlander, I would have thought that the Braves would like contend as well. But that just kind of proves that they're confident in what they have, which is also another thing that I'm not too pleased about. I'm fearful of the Braves. I think Braves, Phillies, and Mets will contend for top spot in the NL East, and I think that all three teams will make the playoffs this year, just because like they're all three teams are just so star studded. There's just no way around all three not making the playoffs, I think.
And you said like how the not playing the divisional games, like playing less divisional games, helps
Mm-hmm.
the AL East, helps the NL East so much too. Because I think the Marlins are going to be kind of scrappy too. They have some fun young
Yeah.
pieces there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
that
they're
jazz
just like a
guy,
team
right?
that will pick off games like in the middle of the summer. Like they won't make the playoffs, but they'll be like hang around and like force you to
Mm-hmm.
play tough games.
I really like the Arise trade that they did. I feel like that was one of the bigger win-win trades that we've seen in a little bit for the MLB. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the Pablo Lopez going over to the Twins, right? And
Mhm.
That
just
was a
you know,
very fair trade, I think, on
that's what
like
I
both
say.
ends. Like
Like great
Lopez
win-win
is
trade.
very solid arm too. Like, and I think he's
Mhm.
the ace for the Twins now.
Yeah, I mean, you see, he has high praise for Anthony Volpe too. But anyway,
You and Volpe, man.
me and Volpe, yeah, I have Volpe as a dark horse for AL Rookie of the Year. I'm that high on him.
So how does Rookie of the Year work? Because I remember a few years ago, the Randy Arozarena guy, he was like, he
Mm-hmm.
run Rookie of the Year like a year or two after he was in the league. Is there like kind of like hockey where it's weird like that?
So you have
I
to
think
like
they're
play a
looking at
certain amount of
bats.
games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it's just
Rosarina was kind of interesting because he like joined late in the season and then just like went off in the playoffs. And then like I think he won like ALCS like MVP or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like won Rookie of the Year the next year, which I thought was hilarious. Um, but yeah, it's quite interesting with all the Japanese additions too. Like they're also in contention for Rookie of the Year. Kodai Senga
Right.
on the Mets, and again Yoshida on the Red Sox.
I am not looking forward to Yoshida. That's a player I'm not looking forward to seeing in Fenway or in Yankee Stadium.
One player I am very excited to watch this season is Jordan Walker on the St. Louis Cardinals. He has looked really good in spring. I think he's like the number 5 prospect or number 4 or something like that.
I think
3,
four.
4.
Alvarez is 3.
He has looked very, very good this season, this spring, and they've called him up. So I'm very excited to see how he plays. Also, Corbin Carroll, who just signed this huge offseason deal at 22, like 10 years, like 322 mil or something like that. Excited to see how he plays as well.
Yeah, I think Corbin Carroll is going to win the NL Rookie of the Year. That's another thing
Jordan
I'm
Walker
certain
is 6'6", 250.
Whew. Wrong sport.
He is, yeah,
Yeah,
And he's
he's an
20. Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
All right, so we're coming up on time here with the Zoom, so either I'll just probably load another one up, worst case scenario. But the 2 last things I had here, the last one here being, so the new rule changes have come in, and I was actually went to 2 different spring training games, and the pitch clock really sped things up. Obviously, it was minor league; they kind of probably will be a bit more strict then, but with the bigger bases and some of the stealing of base rules, I guess you would say, like the pickoff attempts. What do you think is the most important rule, and what's going to have the biggest effect? And like, what do you think? What teams will be beneficial of this?
I think I'll start with the shift. I think the shift is going to be a very important rule to see, and I want to say like the Mets being a team that like sort of like played against the shift last year, and we're always looking to go opposite field. It's now going to be a little bit harder, I think, on teams like the Mets that like were training so like against things like the shift. Um, yeah, but I and then like teams like the Phillies, very left-handed heavy, which were shifted against a lot. And the Braves as well. Like I'm interested to see how much better those teams become without the shift.
Very good. Yeah, it's just I know. So I guess what bigger bases is that like kind of gonna help?
Yeah,
I guess
I don't know
player
about that. I
safety.
feel like we're also going to get like force fed a lot early in the season about like ESPN and the news outlets saying like, "Oh, look at these new rules and everything." I don't know how much like the bigger bases thing. I don't know how much that changes. I think the pickoffs is a little interesting, but again, I don't know how much that's going to change like the overall game. Like, I don't think there's going to be a ridiculous amount of bases stolen, like some people are trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm interested to see the pitch clock thing. It
Yeah.
seemed like a quite of a bit of an issue in the spring. Um, and like especially with like the scenario of like a ninth inning game, like 3-2 count, and then like taking too long in the batter's box, and like game ends there. Like I like that's a little bit of a crappy way to end a game. So I'm curious to see how they would uh, implement that,
I'd be in
especially in like
favor of
playoffs.
like, yeah, turning the pitch clock off for the playoffs or like maybe in the seventh inning on if it's like a close
Mm.
game or something, like then
Yeah,
you turn it off. I don't know,
but
because that does seem like a shitty way to end.
I've seen there's a few things like I know like Scherzer obviously he's always a menace and he was the same way with the Tigers that he's kind of like weaponized the pitch clock almost like I know he's got like
Mhm.
the thing on his wrist he can like sign in like Morse code wise or whatever the hell it works and he's like throwing it in as the guy like steps his first toe in the box the pitch is already down the space so I think it'd be interesting to see if maybe if they pitchers weaponize it so far they kind of peel back on it it's a learning
Mhm.
curve, but thankfully there's a ton of games that they can do here to look at it. So, all right. So, yeah, we'll just do a little round the horn here with our six divisions. We'll roll into some player predictions, the pennant and the World Series. And that's all we'll do here. But let's start off here with the AL East. So we'll just go around the horn here. Whoever wants to start off with a prediction.
I'll take the lead on the AL East. I I have the Yankees winning the AL East. I just think that they're a team that you know think they're not done. I think that they're going to acquire some pieces before the trade deadline to really bolster their lineup, whether it's pitching or left fielder or both. I just think that they're going to win the AL East.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the Blue Jays will make a case. Um, I think the Rays will also be interesting to watch. The Rays are always dark horses in the AL East. Um, and I also think the Orioles will make the AL East will be very interesting this year. And I think a lot of people are just automatically assuming or just going with the Yanks. But the Orioles made a case last year. They looked pretty good towards the end of the year. So I have Yanks, but I think it will come really close. It will come down to September. Yanks will not run away with the division as they have in previous years.
Yeah, I'm on the Yankees for that one too.
Yeah.
I really can't see any other result.
Yeah, so just real quick for the odds, it's plus 125 Yankees, Blue Jays right behind, plus 205, Rays plus 340, Red Sox 15-1, Orioles 25-1. I know the Orioles made that crazy magical run, almost got into the wild card, and then wisely, I guess, from what I'm told, sold at the deadline. But I would be a fool not to take the Yankees here. I mean, they got all the guys behind them. And again, they're a team that's not afraid to spend, whether that be during the season, before the season, after the season. So now over to my division, the AL Central, the Royals and Tigers in the basement here, both at 30-1. And then after that is plus 250 for the White Sox, plus 215 for the Twins, plus 130 for the Guardians. They change their name every 2 years, it seems like. So I don't know much here. I know the White Sox lost their guys. I know the Guardians do a lot, but the Twins got Correa back in his ankle that doesn't really work. So let's just go around the horn here and see what you guys like.
I actually kind of like the Twins in the division. Blake, I have a question though for the Tigers. Like
Mhm.
they signed Baez. Are they just like not trying to win? Or
So yeah, they signed Baez. That was like the last ditch thing for Al Avila before he finally got out of town. They brought in the Giants, one of their front office guys for the Giants. So they figure out ways to win. And then Baez, I guess he's statistically one of the worst guys. He just swings and misses all the time, but he's electric. He hits some home runs. It's fun to watch. He's the name on the jerseys in front is Cabrera and Baez. He's the guy you go for, but the GM openly said that this is a feeling out test year to see what he has. So he basically was like, "Hey guys, I know we've been rebuilding for your entire adult life, but and one more year won't hurt, right?" So they're basically openly saying they're not trying. And I know a lot of the prospects are stinking. Our young pitching core seemingly is going down every day. Someone's got another one. Casey Mize missed the whole year last year with the Tommy John. Now Skubal got hurt again too, but they've got all these great young pieces, but they just never stay healthy. So the Tigers are not even trying this year.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that they're not even last on these odds, but who knows?
I think they're like over under is like 62.5.
It's a little bit better than last year, but it'll be a long run. There's no tanking for Wembenyama in baseball, unfortunately.
In this,
I like the Guardians in this division. They look good. They were interesting last year, very young and scrappy team. And I think the Josh Bell addition is going to be a little huge for them.
he hits the ball so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always have this joke in the AL Central that there's Tiger killers because, obviously the AL Central is like the weakest division in sports. They get steamrolled by whatever wild card they face every year, usually. And there's just these random guys that just pop up and destroy the Tigers. And Josh Bell's already a good enough hitter as is that he'll just mash at Comerica Park, which has a smaller outfield fence. They've almost finished construction on that. So I know because it's always a joke that like Comerica's got like 450 feet because they had that really good pitching rotation, so they backed everything up. Now that they suck again, they're bringing all the fences back in. So
Is it a nice ballpark?
it's pretty nice. I mean, I thought it was always really good, and then I went to Yankees and Citi Field, and I was like, okay, it's a whole different level out there, especially Citi Field. But it's a pretty nice park. I think it was done like early 2000s. They redid it, but it's really big. Lots of outfield room. But they're redoing the excuse they used to bring in the fence was the players didn't like how the bullpen was, and they wanted to make sure they could see the action or whatever. So that means bringing in the non-bullpen wall 30 feet. But hey, whatever makes more action. So
Yeah, true.
I also like the Guardians for this division. I like good pitching, Shane Bieber, Emmanuel Clase, Jose Ramirez, of course, one of the best players in baseball. I just think they're going to be a good team in this division. One team I am high on, I'm buying some stock in, is the White Sox. I think the White Sox are going to be better than people expect this year. Dylan Cease coming off a great year. I think he's going to have an even better one this year. So we'll see. But I think the Guardians will win this division.
yeah,
They didn't do much in the offseason.
no.
Kind of lost more than
Yeah, you thought they'd make a big splash
White
losing
Sox.
Abreu,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah, after giving up Abreu, I thought they were ready to buy.
I did too. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Roberts and Robert and Tim Anderson look, great during the World Baseball Classic. So
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll see how that goes for them.
Tim Anderson's good. I think he's underrated.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I
he's
do too.
really good.
yeah.
Mhm.
He's good. And again, it's very easy for me to think that these teams are so good. I'll just watch the Tigers getting shit pumped by some of these guys. And it's like, oh man, this team's insane. And it's like, nope, first round exit again. So kind of like the Big Ten. It's weird how that works. Moving on here to the AL West, we have it's the Astros division. They are minus 175 to win the division, followed by the Mariners plus 320. Angels plus 750, Rangers plus 850, and Athletics plus 25,000. Okay. So maybe just a quick thing off of this. How realistic is it that the Athletics could potentially move? Is that a thing that actually is going to happen?
move out of Oakland.
Yeah, I know they've been rumors for a while.
They've been moving for. I
Forever.
texted this to Weldon earlier. Actually, they've
Yeah.
been moving for the past 15 years. Like they just need to make the damn move already.
Yeah,
It's like everyone knows you're moving to Vegas. Just do the damn thing.
yeah.
Yeah. This is a little off topic though, but another thing that was floated was Angels. Bomb and I were thinking they might, if they're considering relocating still, we were saying throw them down in Mexico City. Let Mexico City have a team down there. It'd be a great, great international exposure for the game. We saw how into it Team Mexico was during the World Baseball Classic. Jose Alvarado, the pitchers of the Phillies, was looking good. It was
He's a
just
man. He's an
Randy was doing
animal.
his thing. Like
Mhm.
Mexico was showing out. They had the sombreros going.
Has there been any MLB games in Mexico before? Because I know the NFL's had some,
Mhm.
the NBA's got a
Mhm.
few. There's been a few
Yeah,
down there.
there's there's the Mexico series. I think this year it's going to be the Padres and Giants, I believe.
Mhm.
Don't quote me on that one, but I do believe the Padres are in it.
I like that though.
I'm
That's
not sure
cool.
who they're playing.
But yeah, it's. I mean, hey, if hockey can get people to pay attention in Vegas, I'm sure an MLB team would go over perfectly there. And I think, and it's only a matter of time. There's an NBA team there. I mean,
Mhm.
LeBron's
Yeah,
all but
LeBron's gonna be the
confirmed.
owner.
Yeah, LeBron's all but confirmed
Yeah.
that. So they'll do.
Oh, that's gonna be sick.
They'll add in. Yeah, it's another thing he'll be better than Jordan at, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
They'll add in a team in Vegas, and then they'll probably throw it back to Sonics. But speaking of the Sonics, what's up with this Julio Rodriguez guy? Where did he come from? Is he the new darling? Everywhere I look, he's on the first guy on all these ads. I mean, I don't know why it's him and not Otani or Judge or something, but what's his deal?
He
He's
is really
electric.
good, I think.
J Rod is the real deal. J Rod is the
Yeah.
real deal. He's a 30-30 guy. He'll get you 30 homers and 30 stolen bases easy, I think, next year.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I was as a casual, I was just watching him, and I'm like, who is this dude that is just mashing in the home run derby? And obviously he's a pretty good star, and they ended their historic drought of playoff appearances last year, and that pretty cool video of watching the announcer like lose his mind. So
This will be a big year for him too, because like there's always that thing. If you have a big rookie year, well now pitchers will know how to adjust to you. Like they'll have a much more like in-depth scouting report. So I'll be really interested to see how he does this season. But like everyone said, I think he's just an absolute stud and one of those guys who can like carry the weight of like a bad organization on his back and bring them to the postseason. I love the Mariners. I think they're going to be really good this year. I
yeah,
don't know how
Yeah.
like, they made a lot of noise, even though they did get swept in the first round. It still felt like kind of like one of those like this is like their arrival, like they're the new fun team to watch out in the West or in the AL at least.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I'll go with the Astros here. Make it easy. I mean, a team that's this favored, there's no way they couldn't win, right?
Yeah.
I don't
I
know. This division is like really, really, I think is really up in the air. Like I think it all depends on health for some of these guys. Like we were talking about it earlier. Like if Trout's healthy, the Angels are big contenders. If DeGrom can have a great year and he's healthy, like the Rangers are contenders as well. Like we automatically can rule out the Athletics, but those top four teams, I think it's going to get close. But I do agree. I think the Mariners take it in the end.
The Mariners pitching's underrated too.
I was gonna say Luis Castillo he's a real deal. He's a dark horse for Cy Young, I think. Also, I do think the Houston Astros are going to win the division. I just think they're the proven team. I think they're they're probably one of, if not the most tested team to always consistently perform in the postseason. And I think that Mariners will be a close second. I really do, but I think it's the Astros division to lose.
We'll see.
All
I
right.
hate the Astros so much.
Yeah.
Especially now that they
preaching to the
won.
choir.
Yeah, now that they won post cheating, it's a lot of narratives. Unfortunately, had to end. So,
All right.
moving on to where we got left here. We have the National League start with the NL East, go east to west. Braves, again, kind of mentioned these earlier. I'll go quick. Braves plus 105, Mets plus 170, Phillies plus 425, Marlins plus 2,000, Nationals plus 25,000. I like the Mets. I think we might have a lot of people on the Mets here. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's got to be a lot of people like me in Detroit's favorite team now that you got your two childhood guys growing up on the same roster. It's hey, hopefully
It's
they can
amazing.
finally win one together.
Yeah, I love that 1-2 punch. I'm really excited for the Mets this year. I think again, like goes down to the bullpen. If the Mets can get some help in the bullpen and DH position, Daniel Vogelback, I had a lot of love for him last year, and I still do. But it's hard to love him when you can't hit. And he looked awful this spring. So I'm curious to see what they do with DH. Curious to see what they do with their young third basemen. But Mets is my NL East winner this year.
Yeah, I've sung the praises of the Mets already. There's an interesting bet on DraftKings, three teams from the NL East to make the playoffs at even odds, plus 110. I think
I love
I like
that.
that a lot.
I love that.
I think that's pretty much a lock, in my opinion.
So it's
That would be
two
bad.
wild cards, correct? Outside, or is it three?
2.
Okay,
Or,
so
is it 3?
isn't it
Is it
isn't
3
it two?
now?
Because the first one gets
Oh,
a bye.
it's-
The top team gets a
Yeah.
bye, and then then they
Right,
got to
it's
play.
Two
three.
wild cards.
2.
Okay, so yeah, both wild cards would go there. Okay, interesting to see. I mean, based on the limited knowledge I have of the National League, it would be maybe the Padres or Dodgers would be fighting for that. But hey,
I was when I was thinking about this division, I was really torn between the Mets and the Braves, just because when push comes to shove, the Braves they're such a good team. Austin Riley, I don't think he gets the praises that he deserves, but I do think the Mets are going to end up pulling this division out. I think it's going to be really close between the Mets and the Braves, but I think the Mets just have a more complete lineup while I'm 1 through 9 right now, and hope their rotation and their closers come back with Evan Diaz. If he comes back by the postseason, that'd be huge for them. But also, I could see them also sidelining him for the whole year just because they just gave him $100 million, and that's an investment that they made. So, but I think the Mets will take this division.
for sure.
Side note, there are 3 wildcard teams, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
three.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. So that makes a lot more sense. Because I could say even odds with one of the Dodgers and Padres would be interesting.
Right.
But
Because
looking
then
at
like that for the AL West or NL West, it's like minus 170, I think, for two teams to make it,
yeah.
which makes a lot of sense.
Looking over at the NL Central now, the St. Louis Cardinals are the head of the division odds. They are minus 125. Brewers plus 175. Cubs plus 650. Pirates plus 3,000. Reds plus 6,000. I don't know much about this division, so I'll let you guys lead off here.
This is a Cardinals division, honestly. Like Brewers, they tried to make some noise, but I'm just a little confused with all the moves they've made. Getting Winker is interesting. I don't know. Brewers, this is a Cardinals division. Cubs might make some noise with Swanson, but this is again Cardinals division.
Cardinals are just such a well-run organization, I feel like, and it's just every year they're going to win this division. And the Brewers, like you said, I don't know what direction they are trying to go in. It's like they dump guys and then they try to get guys. Like they're burning Yelich away. Like I feel bad for him more than anything. So I just go with the safe bet and the train that is the Cardinals organization.
Yeah, I'm hopping on that train too. I think that this is a Cardinals division that was they have a good lineup. They have arguably one of the top 2 defensive or top overall third baseman in baseball. So
Probably.
I don't know.
Best corner infielders.
Yeah, for sure. Goldschmidt and Arenado just absolutely hold down that infield. And
But then I still think the Cardinals are frauds then in the playoffs, though. I don't trust them in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think their pitching might be their Achilles heel this year.
Wainwright's getting old.
Yeah, Waino's old.
Another person quickly, I think, interesting to watch in this division, Cody Bellinger on the Cubs now. Um,
Oh,
I think like he had a couple solid, really solid, and like MVP caliber seasons a few years back, and then just absolutely sucked after that. So I'm interested to see new team, new division, new pitching, new organization, new game style. Um, I'm interested to see how he plays. Signed a 1 year deal too, so this could be a big year for him as well.
A good prove it deal, maybe get traded to a real team at the deadline. Who knows? But
Hmm.
from the limited information I've gathered over the years, watching very 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 casually, the Brewers seem to be leading throughout most of the year, and then the Cardinals will come out of nowhere, overtake them as they tank and die. So I'll go with that, and I'll take the Cardinals as well. Um, our final division here, the battle of the West Coast teams. NL West, we have the Rockies at plus 18,000, the Diamondbacks plus 4,500, the always pesky, somehow always there Giants plus 950, and then the Padres plus 120, Dodgers minus 110. Is it the old men on the block or is it the new boys? What do you guys think?
I think Padres take it this year. Um, Dodgers didn't make it much noise in the offseason, but they do have some young talent, which always query about with the Dodgers. Um, Giants, I think, will make some minor noise with Conforto. Their new acquisitions, but um, I don't think nothing too big for the Padres to muster. Um, their lineup again is just star-studded one through nine. Um, so yeah, I think this is a Padres year for this division.
I love the Padres. I just think that lineup is insane, and it's going to actually be like fun to watch. We'll see how it comes like plays out in the postseason. Like I said, I think their pitching is a little overrated and will overachieve a little bit, but it's not going to matter when that lineup puts up like 7, 8, 9 runs every single night.
I like the Dodgers in this division. I think that one of the more underrated signings of this offseason was JD going to the Dodgers. That's a
Ooh,
very
yeah.
under the radar move that he's going to produce a lot of runs and a lot of offense for that team. I also think that their bullpen is one of the best in baseball. I can go up there punch for punch with every other bullpen with Kershaw, Goslin, Walker Bueller. Like they just have such a deep bullpen. I love Mookie Betts too. He's top five player in baseball if he's playing to his best ability. I just think, you know, I think the Padres will make a really good case and a good fight for division, but I do see the Dodgers edging it out by a game or two.
All right, and the like one thing I know is when it comes to new teams versus old teams, you always take the old teams until they're dead. That's been a pretty good prediction model of mine with the Lightning in the NHL and teams like that, where it's until they do it, it's hard to say that they can. But once it happens, it might stay for a while. So for that logic there, I'll take the Dodgers. So that wraps up the divisions. Now we can shift into Cy Young and the MVP if you guys have any takes on those.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty high on Christian Javier this year for the Astros. I think he's going to win the AL Cy Young pretty handedly. Um, I think he has all the talent. I think he's surrounded by a good enough team to support him, and I think he's going to win the Cy Young for the AL.
I have four candidates for AL Cy Young. I think Jacob DeGrom, obviously, we can never count him out. Shohei Ohtani. I think Luis Castillo is going to have a really good year. And I think
Mhm.
Shane McClanahan from the Rays, he has progressively gotten so much better over the past 3 years. And I think he's just going to be unhittable this year.
I don't have much for the Cy Young, honestly, for the AL. I like Garrett Cole plus 650. I just feel like he'll stay around and he'll at least be in the conversation. So seeing some value there at 650 to have somebody at least in the last month with a chance. That's all I really got for that award.
The
He's
only
a
other
horse.
name up there up top that I didn't hear was Alek Manoah. What team is he on nowadays?
He's on the Blue Jays.
Okay, there you go. Because I'm saying the whole time the Blue Jays have been sneaky high up all these odds, but I know there's Vlad Guerrero, so I guess they have a good pitcher as well. As for the NL, this one I do know, obviously with Scherzer and Verlander, but there's one guy I've watched over the years, whether it be dabbling in betting or watching these games, the dude on the Marlins, Sandy
Sandy
Alcantara. That
Alcantara.
guy
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. He is really good.
I mean,
He's
not only is
definitely-
he a good pitcher, this guy's going like 8 innings, which no one does anymore. He's an absolute workhorse. I think it's electric.
Mhm. Yeah, I have Sandy as my top pick for NL Cy Young too. I think he's gonna go back to back. I think this is just a tendency, I think, with the voters. They like back to back Cy Young. They don't like three-peats though. So I think that Sandy could win. I do have Spencer Strider as the NL dark horse to win Cy Young. I think he has nasty stuff. He is one of the best sliders in baseball, and I think that he's going to be a really, really good value pick.
Him and Freed. I mean, that's such a like between their duo and the Mets duo. That's pretty nuts that both those teams in this division have that top
Yeah,
end. And Nolan and Wheeler aren't
that's what I'm
anything
saying.
else to
I'm looking at these
look
top 9 here, and I think 6 or 7 are in the NL East, which is crazy. So
It's gonna be nuts.
loaded
As a
division.
Mets fan, I can never rule out Mr. Verlander or Mr. Scherzer. Especially Verlander coming off Tommy John surgery last year. I think he's on a run to see if he can win it back to back years in 2 different divisions, in
Yeah.
2 different conferences, 2 different leagues, excuse me. So I really like Verlander for NL Cy Young this year.
And I will say there's either going to be really good news, really bad news coming out of those two because they've had a pretty nasty falling out behind the scenes, very dramatic when Scherzer left for the I don't even remember what team. I think it was the Nationals at that point, but
Nationals.
he wanted more money than Verlander, and I think the owner at the time liked Verlander better, and he gave him $1 less than Verlander. I think was exactly what it was. So they kind of got petty after that, and maybe those two will semi hate each other, semi love each other, and just push each other to go insane and be really good. So hopefully, for our prediction's sake, that happens.
Hey,
yeah,
Scherzer makes more than Verlander now, so hopefully all is settled.
pretty funny. So, but yeah, and obviously a little bit more taxes now, unfortunately, for Mr. Verlander going from Texas to New York. So, as for the MVP here, I guess we could start with the AL MVP, which I think is probably a lot less of a race than other ones, with Shohei Ohtani having an insane advantage. I mean, I think he probably should have won it still last year, even though Judge won it. But kind of what you guys mentioned with voter fatigue, and we see that with the NBA. Like LeBron should probably win the MVP almost every year. But I think Ohtani, he's got like maybe 1 or 2 more MVPs before everyone gets bored.
Right.
Yeah, I think Otani's got it this year.
Yeah.
The only way that you don't let Otani win MVP is if you do something like you break a record that stood for over 60 years, like Judge did. But I think that's the only expectation. I think that's the only stipulation where Otani doesn't win is if something that doesn't happen ever happens, because it's what Otani does every year doesn't happen ever. Otani is
Right.
doing stuff that we haven't seen in, yeah, it's wild.
Forever.
Yeah, since Babe.
I think
Yeah.
Mike
You go
Trout.
ahead,
I like Mike Trout for AL MVP. I think he's tired of losing. I think he's tired of being hurt and watching his team lose. I think he also wants to keep Ohtani in LA. So I think he's gonna try his hardest to play his best. And I think he is the best player in baseball when he's healthy. So I like Mike Trout for AL MVP.
I don't think Trout is tired of losing because he stayed in LA. So if he really wanted to win, he would have come to Philly. He's a loser. That's all he does is lose. And he might win the MVP again if he stays healthy, and he probably could, but he's not going to make the playoffs because that's what he does is lose. And that's what happened to the USA in the World Baseball Classic, is we got Trout. And he just is a loser. That's all I got to say. The only shout I have for AL MVP, I like Alvarez plus 1100. I think there's some value there. I think that guy's just a monster. He's just
Mm.
like one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in my life. It just hits the ball really hard. So that's fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As for the NL here, the favorite in the clubhouse is Juan Soto at plus 550. But maybe they think he's got some motivation with his contract expiring. I don't know if they ever end up extending him, or is he still on that one more year?
I don't. I think he's got one more year. 2024, he'll be a free agent. But I don't know if he'll come back for the Padres. I don't think they planned on bringing him back because they have so many people they need to sign.
Hmm.
Especially if they go and make a run at Otani. I think that the
Yeah,
Padres are going to be one of those teams that really goes after him. I mean, they offered Judge over 400 million last minute, and he turned it down. It's just like, where are they getting this money? So you know that
it's
they're going to make
crazy.
Otani an absurd offer. I bet north of 550 million. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
So
I've been torn between NL MVP, and I was torn between Acuna and Turner. And at the end of the day, I really like Acuna. I just think Acuna is, you know, if he's healthy, he's one of the best players in baseball that we've seen in a while. He's absolutely electric to watch, and I think with a good team around him, he should, absolutely kill it this year.
Yeah, I was.
I kind of go ahead. You're
Oh,
good.
sorry. I was torn between Turner and Arenado, actually. I think both of them looked really good in the World Baseball Classic. And I think Turner on a new club, a new division, I think he um, looks like he's really enjoying Philly. So I think he's going to have a lot of fun this year. Um, and when he's having fun, he plays well. And Arenado, just because Goldschmidt's coming off an MVP year, I think he might want to replicate that again. So I like Arenado as well. But so I can't. I'm torn between either of the two, but I think one of those two take it.
Yeah, I really like Turner plus 850, especially with Harper out for most of the first half, is he's going to kind of have to keep him afloat in the beginning, and he already obviously looks like he's going to start off pretty solid. I think if he just plays every single day, he just puts up like just solid numbers, like he's going to hit 300, he's going to have a chance to drive in 100 runs. The other one I do kind of like too is Machado, because if the Padres are as good as like where some of us are predicting them, like myself, I just think he'll just quietly, once again, like have like a 35 home run, 110 RBI season. And if the Padres do like take down the Dodgers, you're probably going to be looking for someone on that team to be the MVP. So that's my one. I think it's plus 1500. I like a little bit of value on that one too.
yeah, I know that the MVP always in every sport is a lot. Half of it is the narrative because it's voted on by writers and stuff as well. And obviously, I think the trade Turner, already is should be a pretty head above everyone else. Obviously, you haven't even had a game yet, but just what he did with America, I'm sure the writers all loved it and ate that up. So, if that one Japanese guy that was just mashing was in here, I'm sure he'd have the same thing. But I've been told he's a few
Oh
years
yeah.
away. So, I would
Yeah.
personally take Trey Turner as well here. So, just finally wrapping up here, we got a few minutes left on the Zoom here. For the pennant odds and World Series, what do you guys like? I'll just start off real quick. I'm going to go Mets Yankees. There, I said it. I think it's going to happen. I think we were really close to it last year, and it would just be really good. And I think it'd be something very, very, very fun to watch for. I mean, because I know that the New York teams are very easy to hate, but I think in baseball they're actually good, so they kind of warrant the hate from everyone else. So that's just what I think.
I do like the Yankees to come out of the AL. I will be honest. I think this is the year that they finally get over that Astros hump. I've been lying to myself for the past years. I'm going to keep doing it. And so I think the Yankees will get out of the NL or the AL, excuse me. But for the NL, I've had a harder time deciphering who I think is going to come out of the NL. I think the Dodgers will ultimately outplay the Padres in the regular season, but I think the Padres lineup will come to play in the postseason. So I'll have the Padres coming out of the NL.
Alrighty.
I kind of like, I mean, the Yankees, they're tough to bet against. I think it could be fine the Yankees year. And then I like a little bit of value on the Mariners plus 900. And then for the NL, I think the Braves are going to put it all together again. And they have like those young, exciting prospects to go with the guys who did it a couple of years ago. So I like the Braves out of the NL.
Nice,
I
nice,
think
nice.
I think this is the year the Mets finally put it all together. I think we've been chipping away slowly, and it's been painful. But I think this is the year that our veteran pitching staff puts it all together and shuts it down. I think um, Billy Epler is going to make some moves at the deadline that will actually change the direction of the team. So I think it will be Mets and Yankees as well. I think this is the year that New York City um, owns the World Series. I think mayhem to New York City, to the city of New York, and come November, actually.
Yeah, I think that would be insane. I could only imagine the content coming out of that, whether it be like side talk or some other big things. Just what they would do with that, I think, would be electric for baseball. And they sure need a little jolt in the arm, I think, with the little World Cup buzz hangover, helping baseball get back up into the big four, power four, like they obviously should be. So, New York's getting a little bit too much right now with the Rangers getting good again too. So we'll see if their run continues. Aaron Rodgers might be joining out there, but just want to thank you guys for watching, and thank you three especially for joining. We'll have some more of these, I think, in the future. Definitely, I really liked how the flow worked here. We'll probably add them in, maybe a mid-season baseball update, something like that. But if not that, we'll definitely have a mock draft featuring some Giants and a Eagle fan. So. Last time I watched a draft with these guys, I made fun of him for Daniel Jones, and look where that has gotten me. I was supposed to
Yeah,
find the old clip
yeah.
of it. I cannot find
Yeah.
it. I'm looking everywhere. I was wrong with Daniel Jones. I know this is the wrong place to do it,
I won't
but
apologize.
do it.
He hasn't won anything.
He made a
He hasn't won
second
anything.
contract. Okay, that's all you need. He won a playoff game. It's a lot more than a lot of quarterbacks can say. I'll tell you that much.
He
So
got the
True.
bag. How many
absolutely,
professional quarterbacks can say, "Yeah, I signed a contract over $150 million"?
yeah. I went from Danny
Couple.
Derps to Danny Dimes to Danny Duffel Bags. So hey, what are you gonna say? But thank you guys for watching. Please
Thank you
like
for
and
having us.
subscribe.
Yeah,
And
thanks for
you.
having us.
yeah, for sure. See you guys next time. Peace.
Cheers.